Right now, as you're watching this video, another American restaurant is locking its doors for the last time. Not because they want to, because they have to. The industry that once symbolized American prosperity is facing its biggest crisis in history. And what's happening behind closed doors? It's far worse than what they're telling us. The fast food and casual dining industry that once defined American culture, employed millions and fed generations, is facing an extinction-level event, and nobody's talking about the real reasons why. I've spent 3 months buried in bankruptcy filings, SEC disclosures, franchise lawsuits, and interviews with former employees. What I discovered is far more disturbing than rising prices or changing consumer habits. This is a systemic collapse driven by forces that most Americans don't even realize are affecting them. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your favorite burger joint raised prices 40%, why your local diner shut down overnight, and why 2025 might be remembered as the year the restaurant industry died. This isn't just about business. This is about the end of affordable food in America. This is about communities losing gathering spaces. This is about the American dream getting priced out of existence. Let us talk about the 15 chains that are falling apart right now, and why what's happening to them is happening to all of us. At 15 we have Denny's. Let's start with an American icon that's been quietly dying for years, Denny's. For over 70 years, Denny's represented something uniquely American, freedom at 2 a.m. The fluorescent-lit refuge where night shift workers, insomniacs, students, truckers, and wanderers could always find a hot meal and a bottomless cup of coffee. Always open wasn't just a slogan, it was a promise. That promise is broken. According to their 2024 fiscal year report, Denny's is closing approximately 180 locations by the end of 2025. But here's what makes this terrifying. These aren't just underperforming stores in oversaturated markets. These are community anchors in small towns where Denny's was often the only 24-hour restaurant for 50 miles. The financial damage is catastrophic. Same-store sales dropped 5.8% year over year. Net income plummeted nearly 40% in a single quarter. Customer traffic is down double digits. But those numbers don't capture what's really happening on the ground. I spoke with Marcus Chen, a former Denny's general manager in rural Pennsylvania, whose location closed in February. He told me something that should alarm everyone. We didn't lose customers because they stopped liking breakfast. We lost them because they literally couldn't afford us anymore. A family of 4 used to spend $35 for breakfast. By the end, that same meal was $65. These were working families, construction workers, nurses, teachers. They didn't stop coming because they wanted to. They stopped because they had to. Let me show you the math that's killing Denny's. A Grand Slam breakfast, their signature item, cost $7.99 in 2019. Today, in most markets, it's $13.99 to $15.99. That's an 87% increase in 6 years. Meanwhile, median household income has grown only 18%. Coffee refills, once unlimited and free, now come with charges at many locations. Pancake portions have shrunk. The quality of ingredients has declined. Customers notice, and they're walking away. But the real killer is the death of the 24-hour model. Rising crime rates, staff shortages, and collapsed late-night traffic have forced most Denny's locations to close overnight. And once you take away always open, what makes Denny's special? What separates it from IHOP, Cracker Barrel, or Waffle House? Nothing. And that's the problem. Franchise owners are abandoning ship. Lawsuits are piling up. In some towns, former Denny's buildings sit empty with faded signs and overgrown parking lots, monuments to an America that could afford to eat out. Denny's collapse isn't just a business story, it's cultural. The 24-hour diner represented American possibility. The idea that no matter when you needed it, comfort food and community were waiting. Now, even that's being priced out of existence. At 14, Wahlburgers. If Denny's proves that nostalgia can't save you, our next chain proves that celebrity power can't either. Welcome to the slow-motion disaster of Wahlburgers. When Mark Wahlberg launched Wahlburgers in 2011, it was supposed to be different. Not just another celebrity vanity project, but a premium casual experience where quality justified higher prices. The plan was ambitious. 100-plus U.S. locations bringing Hollywood glamour to suburban America. Fast forward to 2025, and that dream is in ruins. Traffic is down over 30% system-wide. Dozens of locations from Nevada to Florida have quietly shuttered. The expansion plan has been scrubbed from the company website. And franchise owners are filing lawsuits claiming they were sold a fantasy. Here's the core problem. Wahlburgers is charging fine dining prices for casual food in an economy where even middle-class families are cutting back. A meal for a family of 4 averages $58 before drinks. That's not including tax, tip, or delivery fees. You're looking at $75–80 for burgers and fries. In 2019, that might have worked. Families splurged on experiences. But in 2025, when grocery bills are up 25%, gas is expensive and real wages have stagnated, spending $80 on burgers feels obscene. I found a Reddit thread from a former Wahlburgers manager in Arizona that's incredibly revealing. He wrote, "Corporate kept pushing premium experience, but wouldn't invest in training or ingredients. We were charging $18 for a burger that cost us $4 to make, and it wasn't even that good. Customers felt ripped off. They came once for the novelty, then never returned." The celebrity shine that once drew crowds has become toxic. In focus groups, customers described feeling hustled and overcharged for a name. Thus, one woman told researchers, "I don't need Mark Wahlberg's signature sauce. I need to feed my kids without going into debt." Franchise agreements are collapsing. Several owners have sued, claiming corporate oversold the brand's strength and provided inadequate support. The loyalty program is dead. Social media buzz has evaporated. Many remaining locations operate exclusively through delivery apps, a desperate attempt to survive in a crowded market. Here's the broader lesson. In the 2010s, Americans paid premiums for experiences and branding. In 2025, they want value and substance. Celebrity endorsements don't fill stomachs when budgets are tight. Wahlburgers isn't just failing as a business. It's failing as a cultural read. It misunderstood this moment completely. And now, the Hollywood dream is becoming just another shuttered restaurant with a for lease sign. At 13, Salad and Go. Now let's talk about a chain that should have succeeded, and that's what makes its collapse so disturbing. Salad and Go was supposed to be the future of fast food. The concept was brilliant. Fresh, healthy salads and wraps for under $6, served through a tiny drive-through footprint with minimal overhead. No dining room, no waitstaff. Just fast, affordable, nutritious food for Americans who were tired of greasy burgers. Investors called it the next Chipotle. The chain exploded from 70 locations in 2022 to nearly 300 by 2025. Venture capital poured in. Analysts praised the model. Everything looked perfect, and then reality hit like a freight train. In 2024, ingredient costs exploded. Romaine lettuce prices surged 40%. Avocados tripled in cost. Chicken breast hit record highs. Suddenly, those $5.99 salads weren't profitable at $5.99 nice. Locations started charging $19.99, then $11.99, and customers revolted. The company has closed dozens of locations in Texas, Arizona, and Nevada. Employee turnover exceeds 150% annually, meaning the average worker quits in less than 8 months. Supply chain failures have left stores without key ingredients, and the fresh daily promise has become a joke as quality plummets. But here's the deeper tragedy. Salad and Go's failure reveals something dark about America in 2025. We claim to want healthy food. We say we care about nutrition.
But when people are struggling to afford anything, a $12 salad is a luxury. I interviewed Sarah Rodriguez, a single mother in Phoenix who was once a regular Salad and Go customer. She told me, "I love that place. I was finally eating healthy and my kids were eating vegetables. But when they raised prices, I had to choose between a salad for me or a full meal for my family at the grocery store. The choice was obvious." That's the brutal economics of 2025. Healthy eating has become a class privilege. When wages stagnate and food costs soar, nutrition is the first thing families sacrifice. They buy calorie-dense, nutrient-poor food because it fills stomachs cheaply. Salad and Go's collapse also exposes the lie of just expand faster. The chain grew too quickly, opened in too many markets, and overstretched its supply chain. When costs spiked, they had no cushion, no reserves, no plan B. Analysts now warn that Salad and Go may not survive past 2026 without a major buyout or restructuring. The dream of affordable, healthy fast food is dying, and that should terrify everyone. Because if we can't make healthy food affordable in the wealthiest country on earth, what does that say about where we're headed? At 12, Boston Market. If you want to see corporate collapse at its absolute worst, look no further than Boston Market, a case study in how greed, mismanagement, and neglect can destroy a beloved brand. Boston Market once meant something: rotisserie chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, cornbread, and green beans that actually tasted homemade. For millions of families, especially during holidays, Boston Market was the shortcut to a real dinner when time or energy ran out. In 2025, it's a corporate horror show. Over 400 locations have closed since 2023. The company was evicted from its New Jersey headquarters for failing to pay $1.2 million in rent. State labor departments have issued dozens of wage theft violations for not paying employees, sometimes for months. Former workers describe showing up to locked stores with no notice, no final paychecks, and no explanation. System-wide sales have collapsed over 70% since 2019. In many cities, you'll find Boston Market locations with faded signs, empty parking lots, and a closed for renovations notice that's been hanging for over a year. Those aren't renovations. Those are abandonments. But it gets worse. In 2024, chicken suppliers severed contracts after Boston Market failed to pay millions in outstanding bills. The rotisserie ovens that defined the brand fell silent. Fresh ingredients were replaced with frozen substitutes. Quality imploded. I found a Facebook group of former Boston Market employees sharing horror stories. One woman wrote, "I worked 60 hours that week and my paycheck bounced. I called corporate and got voicemail. I went to the store the next day and it was locked. I never got my money." This isn't just business failure. This is wage theft, fraud, and abandonment of workers who depended on these jobs. The emotional impact runs deep. For families who grew up sharing Thanksgiving meals from Boston Market, seeing their local store abandoned, grass growing through the parking lot, windows boarded up, is genuinely painful. These weren't just restaurants. They were traditions. Boston Market's collapse represents something darker than economics. It's what happens when private equity strips a brand for parts, extracts value, and leaves devastation. The people who built Boston Market, worked there, and ate there were betrayed. And here's what should concern everyone. This is becoming the norm. Brands get bought, leveraged, drained, and discarded. Workers and customers are left holding the bag. The American promise of "if you work hard, you'll be taken care of" is revealed as fiction. Boston Market isn't coming back. The brand is effectively dead. What remains is a cautionary tale about corporate greed and the human cost of financial extraction. The rotisserie ovens are cold, the parking lots are empty, and the promise of home-style comfort has rotted away. At 11, Little Caesars. For decades, Little Caesars was the hero of broke America, the $5 hot and ready that fed struggling families, college students, and anyone counting pennies. No frills, no pretense. Just cheap, hot pizza when you needed it most. In 2025, even that miracle is dead. The $5 hot and ready now costs $8.49 in most markets, a 70% increase. And customers are walking away in droves. Corporate filings reveal dozens of franchise closures across Michigan, Ohio, and Florida. Delivery sales, once the company's growth engine, have plummeted 18% year over year. Here's the math that killed Little Caesars. Cheese prices have surged 40% since 2023. Pepperoni is at record highs. Flour, tomatoes, and packaging have all skyrocketed. For a chain built on razor-thin margins, sometimes as low as 3 to 4% profit per pizza, there's no room to absorb these costs. They had two choices: raise prices or go bankrupt. They raised prices, and the core customer base, low-income families who relied on cheap pizza, couldn't follow. Online reviews tell the story. Hot and ready is now warm and wait. Paid $9 for a pizza that used to be $5, and it was terrible. Little Caesars betrayed us. That last comment captures something important. For many Americans, Little Caesars wasn't just food. It was a lifeline. The option that existed when money was too tight for anything else. Losing that feels like betrayal because, in a sense, it is. Franchise owners are furious. Many claim corporate raised supply costs while providing no support for local challenges. One franchisee in Ohio told a local paper, "Corporate is squeezing us dry while blaming inflation. They're raising what they charge us for ingredients, but we can't raise prices anymore without losing everyone." Staff shortages are crushing operations. Many stores can't stay fully open. Drive-through wait times have doubled. Quality has collapsed. The hot and ready promise, pizza ready when you walk in, is now a joke. You wait 15-20 minutes and half the time they're out of pepperoni. But here's the deepest tragedy. Little Caesars' collapse symbolizes something larger. The death of affordable indulgence in America. There used to be a bottom rung, a floor below which prices wouldn't fall. That floor is gone. When even the cheapest pizza becomes unaffordable, we've entered new territory. We're watching the elimination of budget options that millions of families depended on. And once those options disappear, where do people turn? Many are switching to frozen grocery store pizza at $4 to $5. Others just go without. The idea of treating yourself to cheap pizza on a tough week is becoming a luxury of the past. Little Caesars represented the last refuge for struggling Americans. In 2025, even that refuge is closing its doors. The ovens are still hot, but for how much longer?
At 10, Taco Bell. This one hurts because Taco Bell wasn't supposed to fail. It was the brand that understood internet culture, Gen Z humor, and late-night chaos. It had the loyalty, the memes, and the cult following. And yet, in 2025, even Taco Bell is collapsing. Traffic is down 11%. Franchise owners report the worst profit margins in 20 years. Over 250 U.S. locations are projected to close or rebrand by year's end. The legendary $1 cravings menu, the value proposition that made Taco Bell accessible, is gone. A basic combo meal that cost $5.99 in 2019 now averages $9.50 for Gen Z. And young millennials, Taco Bell's core customers, that's devastating. These are the generations already crushed by student debt, stagnant wages, and skyrocketing rent. They turned to Taco Bell because it was affordable chaos. Now it's just expensive chaos. The brand's social media presence, once legendary, can't paper over the reality. You can't meme your way out of a 40% price increase. Customers aren't stupid. They see the smaller portions, higher prices, and declining quality. Behind the scenes, franchise owners are in open rebellion. Many complain that corporate raises franchise fees and supply costs while ignoring local struggles. One Texas franchisee wrote in a leaked email, "Corporate wants us to innovate and upgrade, but they're not paying for it. They want flashy stores and high tech, but our customers just want cheap tacos. We're caught in the middle and drowning." Taco Bell's innovation machine, once its greatest strength, has become its weakness. Constant menu changes, limited time items, and gimmicks create operational chaos and confuse customers. People don't want another Doritos crossover. They want a taco they can afford. The return of discontinued items like the Mexican pizza generated buzz, but didn't move numbers. It was nostalgia bait that reminded customers of better times without solving current problems. What makes Taco Bell's decline especially painful is what the brand represented: freedom, youth, the ability to scrape together $6 and have an adventure. For millions, Taco Bell at 1 a.m. wasn't about food. It was about possibility. In 2025, that possibility is being priced out of existence. The drive-thrus that once overflowed with teenagers now sit empty. The brand that defined affordable fun is becoming another casualty of an economy where even junk food feels like luxury. Taco Bell's collapse isn't just financial, it's symbolic. It represents the slow death of youth culture built on affordability. When even cheap tacos become unaffordable, what's left at 9 Pop? Remember 2019, the Popeyes chicken sandwich craze, when lines wrapped around buildings and people waited hours for a piece of fried chicken. That viral moment was supposed to launch Popeyes into a new era of dominance. Instead, in 2025, it's in freefall. Customer traffic is down 15%. Same-store sales dropped 7% in the first half of the year. That iconic combo meal that cost $6.99 now averages $11.79 in major cities. For many customers, that's the price of a sit-down restaurant meal. The franchise owners I spoke with paint a dire picture. Cooking oil prices are up 32%. Chicken costs have risen 28%. Rent is skyrocketing, and corporate is demanding expensive upgrades while franchise profits evaporate. One Louisiana franchise owner told me, "We're barely breaking even. Some months we're losing money. Corporate keeps pushing limited time items and marketing gimmicks, but they're not helping us survive. They're making it worse." Behind the viral success was a troubling reality. Popeyes has some of the slowest drive-through times in the industry and customer satisfaction below 70%. The sandwich brought attention, but it didn't fix operational problems. Long waits, inconsistent quality, and poor service drove people away. The brand's aggressive international expansion drained resources from struggling U.S. stores. While corporate chased growth in Asia and Europe, American franchises went bankrupt for working-class Americans, especially in Black and Latino communities where Popeyes held deep cultural significance. The decline is personal. This wasn't just fried chicken. It was tradition, celebration, and comfort after hard weeks. I spoke with Jamal Patterson, a longtime customer in New Orleans, who said Popeyes was special. It was our place. But now it's too expensive, the service is terrible, and the quality isn't the same. They lost what made them special. They lost us. That's the real tragedy. Popeyes built loyalty through quality and cultural connection. Then corporate greed, operational failures, and inflation destroyed both. In 2025, the chicken sandwich that was supposed to save Popeyes is just a memory. The lines are gone. The excitement is dead. What remains is another struggling chain fighting for survival in an economy where comfort food has become a luxury most can't afford. At 8, Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box used to own the night. Those weird, wonderful 2 a.m. tacos. The curly fries that hit different at midnight. The milkshakes after concerts. For decades, Jack in the Box was the refuge of night owls, shift workers, and anyone who needed cheap food when the world was asleep. In 2025, the lights are going out. Over 130 locations have closed since last year. Late-night traffic, once 35% of total sales, has collapsed to barely 18%. Corporate reports show same-store sales down 9%, marking the steepest decline in a decade. The economics are brutal. A combo meal that costs $6 now runs $10 to $11. With wages stagnant, fewer people can afford late-night fast food. Many shifted to grocery store snacks or just go without. But something darker is happening. Rising crime in many areas forced locations to stop 24-hour service. The unique draw of Jack in the Box being there when others weren't vanished, without late-night hours. What separates Jack in the Box from Burger King or Carl's Jr.? Franchises are in open revolt. Many complain that corporate pushes delivery apps that slash profits and raise prices. One California owner told an industry publication, "Delivery apps take 30% commission. We pass costs to customers. Customers stop ordering. It's a death spiral." The brand is also suffering an identity crisis. It's trying to compete with McDonald's in breakfast, Taco Bell in late night, and Chick-fil-A in chicken. It's failing at all three. Customers don't know what Jack in the Box is anymore. Even its loyal core college students and night workers has disappeared. College kids are broke. Night shift workers are gone as manufacturing and 24-hour businesses shut down. I found a particularly heartbreaking TikTok from a college student. Jack in the Box was where we went after study sessions, after parties, after everything. Now it closes at 10 p.m. and costs twice as much. Another piece of college life that's just ... gone. That comment captures the loss. Jack in the Box wasn't just food, it was freedom. The ability to have an adventure at 2 a.m. without spending much money. In 2025, that freedom is dying. The clown-faced mascot still grins from billboards, but behind the smile is a company running out of time, money, and customers. The night that Jack in the Box once owned is disappearing, and with it, another piece of American youth culture is fading into darkness. We will reveal the top 7 in our next video, so make sure you subscribe.